Before that, I would like to say thank you to everyone for joining us in this morning session. Before we start, I would like to introduce our speaker, Jeffrey Jendra, which is leads product innovation, design, automation, and business model innovation at CADS. Okay, before that, I would like to invite Jeffrey Jendra to introduce himself more before we start the session. Okay, Jeffrey, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Sharin. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. Representing Center for Applied Data Science, aka CADS. I have a few colleagues of me in this call as well. All right. Basically, what can I say about myself? I'm trained as a designer, okay, product designer, and then I realized that there's a lot of things that can be designed. Beyond products. When we talk about products, it could be hardware, software, then move into designing services, all right? And then when you realize that you start designing services, you end up designing the systems around the services, okay? Like how, you gotta create the experience of something and then create a business around the experience. And then you start to realize that when you start to create a business around the experience, you have to create the capabilities and the management system so that the business could actually thrive in order for the business to create that experience based on a vision. Okay, so what does this have to do with the future of work? I think there's plenty. Because how businesses are going to be run, how people are going to work in the future, how you will live, learn, play, okay, work, it will all be different in the future. And I'm here to tell you about, there's one key skill, there's one key capability that you must have, in addition to other capabilities that you gotta have in order for you to thrive in the future. So that's why I thought maybe we can do a talk about the future of work, because I believe some of you are, I think a bunch of you are, current students gonna be graduating soon, or there could be alumni of Taylor's, okay? And this talk is meant for you to open up your eyes, all right, and give you inspiration, because when I was still at universities, one of the big takeaways for me was the inspiration. All right, inspiration of what the future could be, or what the future could look like. And that drives my career and drove the career of my classmates. Now they work for Google, Meta, et cetera, building the next future. So my role here at CADS is basically in the work of innovation. All right. Innovation means you're creating something new and different that creates impact. And that means so many things. That literally means, if there's one thing for sure, is we're bringing change into the status quo. What is not working, change it. You want to launch a product, let's do something different. Go to market, let's do it differently. Okay. So this talk is mostly about you and inspiring you on what this future will look like, especially the future of work. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'm going to run through some of the insights and thoughts that I have, and I'm going to stop, periodically, or we could actually just do Q&A towards the end. All right, maybe we can just do Q&A towards the end. Okay, so I'm going to start off with, the fact that you got to understand that we have forces coming through in this economy. Okay, one is that technology and people, they change at an exponential rate. So what I mean by that is technology advancement doubles every 2 years, all right, according to Moore's law. So you have more memory now than last year, okay? Your iPhones gets better every year, all right? And at the same time, customer expectation consumer expectation are becoming more liquid. It means that you expect more and more and more. So technology informs the consumer expectation, and consumer expectation informs technology advancement. It's a chicken and egg, and it's self-reinforcing each other. So as we live, you would expect certain technology, your life experiences to be better this year than last year. I mean, that's why you know, every New Year's Eve, you have some New Year's goal. Okay. And a lot of it is subconsciously brought upon by technology too. Now that's on one dimension. On the second dimension you're looking at is companies are forced to grow beyond logarithmic growth. So one is exponential, okay? The other one's logarithmic. It's the degree of the angle is much lower. And the fact that, you know, companies are forced beyond logarithmic growth means that there is a digital gap. And this gap, you know, for the past 2-3 years, it has been accelerated by COVID. All right, very, very key, because this changes how we live. Technology informs our expectation, and our expectation also informs how technology is being used in our everyday lives. That's a key concept that will never change. Now, what I present to you is the inspiration of what the future will look like. All right, what you will be living in the future. So on the top left, you have you know, augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality. All right, this is gonna be the next iPhone, right? When it came out in 2007, this is gonna change the way we consume media, do our work. That's why all of the big tech are chasing after it. Okay, you're gonna have to expect that. What's gonna also change is metaverse. Okay, that lives inside this virtual reality. So like games right now, like for example, I don't know if you play Genshin Impact, Fallout, you know, World of Warcraft. These are actually metaverse, but for the purpose of fun. But now, metaverse in the future will be more than just fun. It will be about connecting with people, talking to them, doing work, go for meetings. All right, this is what the future of metaverse will look like. Events gonna be done a lot in metaverse. Not to say that it's gonna eliminate physical environment. No, it's just gonna be augmenting your experience. It's gonna be adding another experience layer in your life. Then you have things like you know, smart cities. Okay, so the whole idea of smart cities, that and the smart things and the Internet of Things, is that everything, all of the objects, anything that you can touch, objects, buildings, your pipes, it's all becoming smart. When we say it's smart, it means that there's an intelligence. That's why it's smart. Right now, a lot of our cars here in Malaysia they're dumb cars. They're not smart cars. Okay, when it's dumb, meaning that it doesn't tell you a lot about, you know, the condition of the car at your fingertips. It doesn't drive by itself. It doesn't tell you what's the speed limit. Okay, and it doesn't reinforce you. You know, it doesn't prevent you from crashing from other motorbikes. Okay, these are the things that smart cars would do. Smart things, you know, like if you were sitting on a chair, what would the chair tell you? Okay, it will tell you, like, for example, oh, you've increased your weight by 1 kilogram the last time you sat. You know, something's wrong. You're sitting not at a balanced weight ratio. You're sitting more towards your right. If you do this, it's gonna, you know, create some scoliosis. These are the smart things that, you know, objects will tell. So that this is the paradigm of Internet of Things and smart cities. Okay, from small objects to buildings and the environments. Okay, then we have 3D printing. So 3D printing is, right now we have a lot of 2D printing. So that's basically your HP printer, Epson printer. That's 2D printing, print on a 2D paper. But what 3D printing? It's not just, you know, printing some toys and gadgets. It's more than that. Okay, it's gonna change manufacturing. It's gonna change how people build things, because you are democratizing manufacturing, production. All right. If let's say that you're in a submarine, you could actually have if you live in a submarine, you could actually have your 3D printer in a submarine. and print your own parts. You don't have to, bring your own parts. Okay. Right now, 3D printing is being used to, do a proof of concept by building houses. All right. Printing hearts. So it's not just inanimate objects, but also objects that has lives. It's also being used for, printing your food. All right. This is going to change your life. So we also have drones. Drones right now is for recreation. Actually, anything related to emerging technology comes from a few sources. Number one, it comes from military, like internet comes from military. Okay. The other sources is basically coming from art. That's why you have NFT. All right. So I'm going to change the slide here. So you have NFT right here. But what NFT is basically non-fungible token. Okay. And what it really does is it's creating a digital asset that you can buy. So it's the same thing. I'm assuming that a lot of you play games. I still play games because it expands my mind and boundaries. It's kind of like buying a digital sword or a digital skin, okay? And you own that skin. It's the same thing, So the second sources of new innovation comes from, art and entertainment. So we know that, anything that is considered cool for artists right now will be a major, will be in a mass market in the future. So NFT is not just supposed to be art, but the use case right now is for art. Okay, of course, people are gonna scam a lot of people just buying some JPEG. Okay, but the future is all about having, looking at your objects that you have, okay, and you digitize it. We call it digital twin. Okay, if you have an object and you have a digital version of that, and you're able to track what's happening offline and online, you actually have the digital twin. Okay, and then that object you could actually sell it to other people, and that person could actually be owning this earphone that you have. They could be owning a piece of a chair that you have at your home. Okay, maybe you painted that chair, looks good. So this is what NFT is supposed to be: exchanging physical and digital assets, not only art. There's more to it than that. Then we have things like process automation. Anything that can be processed will be, anything that can be automated will be automated. Okay, including some of the tasks. Like, for example, if you go to McDonald's these days, you know, 2 years ago, you would still see a lot of cashiers, but since COVID, okay, you got to see a lot more cashiers being replaced by a touchscreen that takes the order. All right. And this process automation can be external, customer facing, like McDonald's, or it could be internal. Okay, can you automate your sales process? Can you automate your, lead generation? Can you automate your recruitment? Stuff like that. Internal, external. This is going to be a major factor. All right. Then we have things like, biohacking. So Elon Musk talks about putting a chip inside your head, inside your brain, so that they could actually get some intelligence out of you. Not trying to suck the intelligence out of you, but they could actually figure out what's happening inside your brain and your body and your mind. That's what it is. So that's what we call the biohacking. You're putting certain, smart objects, smart objects inside your body parts. Could be your hand, and it tells you things inside your body. It tells you things inside your body, analyze for you what's going on in your body, and it recommends you certain things that you should be doing based on the objective of the smart things. Okay. Then we've got a lot about, the whole idea of blockchain that's going to change the way internet's being done today. Then there's things like smart contract that you have to really, really know about. Okay, because because right now contract is just basically someone types up, bunch of words together, put it on paper, you sign it, or you use digital signature if it's PDF, and then that's really it. And that if one of the parties don't execute the contract, you manually have to enforce. Okay, as a person, you go there to that first person and enforce something. Okay, there will be dispute. This person doesn't comply to the contract, doesn't agree to the contract, breaks the contract. But smart contract is gonna reinforce you. You know, if you do X by Z by this time, then you will get A as a reward. And what is being controlled is the computer program. The computer program will facilitate it. It's not the law. It's not the human. It's a computer program. But a computer program can be backed by law. All right. Any contract will be smart contract. Then we have cryptocurrency. All right. So right now we have the cryptocurrency boom and doom. All right. But cryptocurrency is meant to be more than just trading, increasing the value of the coin. All right. It's meant to be a new type of currency that is decentralized. Then we have, DAO. DAO stands for decentralized autonomous organization. Okay, this is what startups of the future will look like. The startups of the future, the co-op business model is very prominent in Europe. Okay, but startups also, one of the possible structure in the future will be in this DAO structure, where it's decentralized. So DAO here is just basically, it's an organization. It's still an organization, like Sandir and Berhad, your enterprise. But instead of it's being controlled by, one or two people, okay, or people who actually have shares, who bought shares, equity. It's basically controlled by computer programs. And these computer programs are the intermediaries. Right now, humans are intermediaries. Okay, I'm the boss. I'm going to hire this guy. I don't like this guy. I'm going to fire this guy. You do this, the person doesn't want to do it, then you got problems. Everything is human manual intervention. But with DAO, what it means is that you could actually have a computer program set. All right, this is the rule of the company. And then there will be people who control the company. Okay, but the fact that the people could actually vote. And how do they vote? They actually have to buy the tokens or the coins of the company. So the coins becomes the shares. All right, you see how all of this starts to get connected now? All right, and this is how it is. So for example, should we, budget 10,000 ringgit to do the ads? Okay, and then maybe people with different coins, you set the rules of the vote, and maybe 80% says yes. Okay, maybe 10 people actually hold the coin, or 50 people hold the coin. Say, okay, yes, then we will execute it. Then it goes into process automation. It gets executed. If it's connected to Internet of Things, it'll get executed this way. So everything is connected over here. So what I just explained one by one, but in the future, all of this will be ecosystem. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years in the future, probably until you get old, this is gonna mature. This is gonna be how you will be living. And my goal here is to prep you that this is the kind of future. And there is one key thing right here, is basically data interoperability. All right, so meaning that the data will move from one place to another seamlessly. Actually, you don't even really know sometimes how, technically how it moves, but it just moves. Okay, you just need to know how it moves, where it moves. Unless you're technical, then you get deep dive into that. All right. So what I actually explained to you is the concept of Web3. We're living right now. Actually, let me explain. There's the concept of Web 1. So that's when we got the guys from MSN. Okay, the older generation would know what MSN is. MSN Messenger, Internet Explorer, okay, Netscape, Yahoo. Remember this guy? Who knows this guy? It's Clippy from Microsoft Word. All right. So these are some of the companies and entities that created Web 1, that made Web 1 get adopted by the mass. Okay. And it ended when you actually have a .com boom, basically in 2000. All right, so there's a Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3, or Web 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. So in Web 1, it's all about the internet is being used to read it's basically static read-only web pages. Okay, you cannot really do much. Yeah, maybe you can do some simple ordering, maybe you can type up some stuff, but that's really about it, you know. Okay, everything is quite static, but you gotta start somewhere. So then we live in Web 2 right now. Okay, we are, I believe we are towards at, you know, the late masses. Okay, it's heading into a sunset, but it's still kind of be there. It's still at the peak right now. Okay, but it's you know, the peak is kind of, we actually went past the peak of Web 2. This is when, you know, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, okay, TikTok, all of these are Web 2 stuff. Okay, it allows you to have the ability to read and write and consume media. You can post some stuff, get people to interact with you. Tinder is also Web 2.0. Okay, it's very much information centric and interactive. Okay, this is Web 2.0. The platform game is a lot in Web 2.0. But Web 3.0 is where what all of these stuff will materialize. Okay. I don't know if you notice some of these logos over here. Okay, but this is Bitcoin, obviously, Ethereum. These are some of the companies, and we're actually at the you know, at the early stages of Web3. All right. It allows you, you know, the key differentiator is, one of them is the ability to own things, especially owning your data. Okay, here in Web 2, Facebook owns your data. That's why they give you ads. Instagram owns your data, they give you ads. LinkedIn owns your data. YouTube, you know, owns your data. That's why they could actually give you recommendations, stuff like that. All of these companies own your data. But in Web3, you own your own data. And I'll tell you a little bit why later on, next few slides. Why is this so important when you own your own data? Okay, and we're going to be living in a world that is completely decentralized. All right, different countries will have a different pace. If you live in a dictatorial country like China, it's probably not going to be decentralized. All right, so there won't be any intermediaries. Okay, it'll be private, secure, transparent, and everything's going to be different. This is what we're very familiar with. We are not really familiar with Web 1.0 anymore, because we are now living Web 2.0. But, you know, in the near future onwards, this is going to become more and more prevalent. What are you listening to the news about Bitcoin, crypto? It's just all the tip of the iceberg. Okay, because it's just so much more than that. It's a way of life. So I'll give you a framework how you need to see this. Okay, and you know, there are literally three steps into the future of work, whether it's actually 2.0 or 3.0. Okay, but here in the 3.0, you know, you own and bring your data. Okay, and then you connect it with third-party decentralized apps. Right now, most apps are centralized. Okay, that's why there's a D over here. D stands for decentralized. Decentralized apps run by DAO. Okay, decentralized autonomous organization, not centralized organization. Decentralized apps run by decentralized organization, and then you get hyper personalized experience thanks to AI and automation still, and process automation. Okay, so what are some of the stuff that you can own? Everything really that you own can be stuff like ratings. Okay, you can own your rating. Right now, Grab owns your rating. All right, Food Panda owns your rating. Airbnb owns your rating, but you will own your own rating. That you can actually plug it up to different apps. And then you, depending on what apps you plug it in, you get hyper personalized experience. You could own medical records. Right now, your hospital, the Prince Court, I go to Adventist Hospital here. They own my medical record, which bothers me. All right, I should own my own medical record. All hospitals will own your medical record. And these records, they don't talk to each other. And they're still on paper and files stored in a cabinet. Okay, you will own digital assets that you can trade, tokens, for different purposes, tokens that represents a company, tokens that is for you to trade or whatnot. Okay, the whole idea is that whatever that you own, you could actually connect it with different apps, and then you get hyper personalized experience. All right, you can get different outcomes. A very crucial example, I'll give you 3 examples. So let's say that you own ratings related to lodging, okay, accommodation. So I have that rating stored in Airbnb. And when I want to rent a house, I actually show this rating of mine to the landlord by saying like, hey, look, I have a 5-star rating in Airbnb because I'm a good tenant. But this is what it really means. You know, you own your rating as opposed to Airbnb owns it. I should own this, my own rating. And then let's say if I want to connect it to a home sharing apps like Airbnb or something similar in the future, the apps will then analyze my ratings. Okay, they will analyze my sentiments from the comments posted by previous landlords. Okay, and then it'll give me some home matching. Okay, because you have a good rating, because you have a positive sentiments from your comments from the other landlords, I'm gonna give you a better home recommendation, and I'm gonna also give you a relative discount for maintaining a 5-star. Okay, this is one use case, one experience. It's like, oh wow, if I go to a hotel, if I own my own ratings, I go to a hotel, they'll analyze the same thing, my ratings and the sentiments. And then, you know, if it's a 5-star, 6-star hotel, sometimes they actually have a brand reputation to maintain, and they might say things like, okay, I can now permit you to stay. But if your rating's like about 1 or 2, okay, I don't want to let you stay over here. Your rating is poor, you have negative sentiment, I don't want the trouble. And even that, okay, if you have 5-star, we'll give you another discount too. If let's say you want to rent a home, okay, 3-bedroom from a landlord, the landlord could be using another decentralized apps to check your ratings and sentiments, and we'll decide whether the landlord want to rent out to you and what are the lease terms. The landlord could see that, oh, this person, you know, has a positive sentiment. It's a good guy, keeps the house clean, and I'm gonna give him an easier lease terms. All right, and all of this, you know, after you actually experience all of this, the output of that gets auto updated back to your data ratings. So we call this the digital thread. The digital thread is basically, you know, the connection between one touch point and another touch point where the data moves. Data has to move. Data has to, I mean, your apps has to talk to one another. The systems has to talk to one another. This is called the digital thread. Okay. Now, another example is the health record that you have. If let's say that you actually own your health record right here, you go to hospital A, Prince Court, okay, it will because, you know, a lot of different people, they go to different hospitals to find that specific doctors. Okay, that's an insight. Not because the hospital reputation. Some people, yes, helps hospital reputation if they don't know who the doctor to go for. If let's say you go to the specific doctor in a specific hospital, okay, they will check your record. They'll connect their system with your health record. They will check your blood markers, your cardio activities, and they'll actually give you an accurate diagnostics, as opposed to you go to 15 minutes of a time with a doctor. The doctor gives you, hey, let's do a blood test, check your pulse on your neck, you know, check how many times it beats, and then gives you sometimes inaccurate diagnostics, and then give you some standardized intervention. But the whole idea is that based on this data that you have, you could actually get accurate diagnostics because I have some historical data. Okay, then the doctor could actually give you personalized intervention. You go to another hospital, same thing. They could actually be looking at different data points from a medical record. All right, your heart rate, blood pressure, your nutrient composition. Most doctors are not nutritionists, mind you. Okay, but they could actually check, and then maybe you actually went to this nutritionist inside this hospital. Okay, and then they'll give you personalized meal plans. You go to a dentist. Dentists will analyze, some of the data variables and then give you a personalized dental care, because the good dentist will know that your teeth is connected to your whole body. Okay, so you got problems with teeth, you probably have some other problems in your body, and maybe give you a roadmap on how you should be treating your teeth. And all of this data gets integrated back to your health record. Okay, and you just have a single source of truth. Last example is your home or homes. So there's this thing called digital twin, like I mentioned. It's just basically a visual representation of the physical objects. All right, so if you imagine your home right now, it's not really, most of it are not really smart home, and most of them don't have a digital twin. What I mean by digital twin is just basically that it's more like a blueprint. It's more than a blueprint. Imagine you could actually check where are your pipes on the plumbing right now inside your home, okay, within fingertips. You can't right now. Imagine you could actually see where are the wirings in your home, where's the water coming from, where's the water going to, what's the water pressure from the main pipe to different parts of your body, to your kitchen water, to bathroom water. What is the pressure? If you turn on this light, how much electricity is going to consume? How much you're going to pay at this rate right now, real time, as opposed to getting that bill from Tenaga Nasional every month that tells you, oh my goodness, it's 500 ringgit. What was the one that cost a lot of money inside my house? You won't know that, but with digital twin, you will. And with digital twin, you actually enable you to create a digital version of a house that you could do many things with it. Like, for example, if you connect it to property developer has built their properties with digital twin, okay, they could actually analyze different things, like where's its location, what are all of the digital assets inside the house. You have the lamp, you have the furnishing, you put the AC, all of that increase the value, right? It'll actually give you a real-time market value of a house. And then based on that, they could actually get matched. If you want to sell your home, they'll actually, if they're building this home, they could actually get matched with the buyers. Okay. Retail marketplace, so IKEA, things for your homes. They could analyze all of the digital assets inside your home. Remember, they don't own your data. You just block your data to their data. And then they'll tell you, hey, these are the complementary items that we recommend to you. Okay, because you have an AC, you maybe want to have an air purifier. And they will basically, they could even tell you stuff like, here, we can help you to increase your market value by if you put this and this and this. You go to a home improvement, this is where they'll analyze the digital assets. They will have BIM, access to BIM. BIM is a building information modeling or building information management. That tells you where are your pipes, where are the wires, electricity coming from, wind flow, etc. Right? It will tell you, like, this is your maintenance plan. And then we're gonna match you with different service providers with very good ratings. Okay, do you see how all of these are connected now? This is the future, and it's so important that you got this. All right, this is really the future, and companies, people, they're moving towards this kind of future. Right now, you may only see that it's all about crypto. I'm not here trying to sell you crypto. I'm trying to basically open up your eyes that this is the future we're heading towards, and you better be prepared. And because Web 2 and Web 3 companies are data driven. Okay, what we mean by data driven is that they use data analytics and AI. We call this DA and AI to gain insights and make decisions. So I'm gonna deep dive into what data driven means. So first, it's all about collecting data directly through or through third-party integrations. So this data part, remember data analytics and AI, I put over here data analytics and AI. Okay, Web 2, Web 3, the same, except that Web 3 you own, Web 2 you don't own your data. Okay, so now whether you own your data, you collect your own data, or companies collect it, there are touch points that they could actually collect it from. Okay, from a chatbot, if you are talking to some support, you're talking to in a chat run by bots, okay, it will produce these kind of data. You go social media, you have TikTok, Instagram, they'll collect data like views, shares, likes, lookalikes. If you use digital products, anything that can be tracked, it'll track stuff like feature usage, what's the load time of the site, session time. If you access databases, it'll tell you stuff like, give you a data like company name, where the city is, technology is being used. So the whole idea is that whatever you interact with right now, even Web 2.0, they're collecting all the means of data for themselves. And then what's next is to analyze it. The analysis has to come. The whole idea of analyzing it is to just basically take all of this data over here, okay, in light blue, and then give some aha moment. Whether that aha is communicated to you or not, that's a different story. So the aha is basically, this happened, this is why it happened, this is going to happen next. This is what analytics is all about. Data is one, okay? Analytics is another one. They're not meant to be together because they're separate, but you're supposed to pair them up together. Data, analytics. That's why there's a comma between data and analytics. And then AI/automation. So the idea of automation, remember, anything that is manual can be automated. So the AI or anything that can be automated will predict and prescribe the decision making, what you should do next. What you should do next, what should this object do next? Okay, sometimes they tell you this is what you should do. Sometimes it actually make the decision for you and execute it, like self-driving car. Self-driving car, it will take a lot of real-time data on your road, okay, through sensors and different technology. It will tell you stuff like hey, this is the speed that you are in right now. This is your environment. They can detect environment. These are the other objects and people in front of you, next to you, behind you. And then it will tell you real time. It will analyze real time. We have to drive at 30 kilometers per hour. Oh, no one in front of me. I'm gonna drive 80 kilometers per hour. Am I reaching the residential area and there's a speed limit of 50 kilometers per hour? Okay, I'm gonna do that. So it does that for you. Okay, or it'll just tell you this is what you should do, like a dashboard. Sales is projected to increase by 10 to 15% if you do X. Okay, things like this. This is what the whole idea of being data-driven means. Collect your data, all right? Collect data whether you own it or not. Web3, you own it. And then you analyze it, then you automate it. This is what being data-driven means. So this feature, Web 2, Web 3, you got the prerequisite for you to do well if you want to have a career, whether you as an engineer or whatnot, is to be able to do these three things well. Okay, and this is just basically some example of what the job landscape looks like, right? And all of these roles over here, yeah, it could be some data professionals, it could be some sales and marketing professionals. The whole idea is that all of the jobs require you to work with data, analyze into insights, and automate work. So AKA, all the future workers, the high paying one definitely will have to become data literate. Okay, this is so key. Doesn't matter what you are, engineer, you could just be in marketing, sales. And why? Because over 84% of employees, they are prioritizing digitalization of processes. So the rate of automation will increase. So that means the rate of automation will increase. That means that everything will have to be digitized, and that means that you got to be data literate anyway. So like I said, and only data literate talents can operate data-driven organization. Okay, so if every companies are becoming tech companies, they will have to work with data. They will have to have data transformation. You have to every role really. So here, look at the account manager, growth marketer, product manager, accountant, HR, product designer, and these color coded, these responsibilities that are color coded. This is being able to work with data, all right, analyze them, automate them. So here, if you're a product manager, you gotta be able to integrate the product analytics tool. You gotta be able to gather user feedback. User feedback is, the data of the user feedback. Okay, collect requirements. Okay, then you'll be able to prioritize a feature request. Right now, you're doing manually, but it can be automated. Identify dependencies automatically. Okay, track user habits. All this requires analysis. Then automate some stuff. Okay, let's identify the bottleneck. Growth marketer, can we automate, a split test? Can we auto personalize messaging? Auto send outreach campaign? How the heck are you gonna send 1,000 emails a day by yourself and follow up, 3 times over the course of 1 week? You cannot do that unless you automate it. Those who actually want to be in marketing, we will explain very soon. So, and you gotta become data literate talents, okay, with data literacy skills who can adopt new tech. So you wanna be like this guy. These are all of the skills. You're the account manager and you can use all of this tech, okay? So now I'm going to the organization bit very quickly. Then I'll go into marketing. All right, and here we have 84% of digital transformation fail, not because of technology, all right, but because of failed technology adoption. Failed technology adoption. People are not adopting that technology. And why? Because there's just really two things, really. People really don't have the skills, how to use that technology, but still the fundamental is data literacy skills. And they are resistant to change as a result. They just want to stay complacent. And frankly, if you stay complacent, that's where you're just going to be. You're going to get left behind when people are evolving, when people are having the skills. So companies are doubling down their investment, all right? And research has shown that you spend so much on technology, but you're going to have a lot of waste. Okay, a lot of waste, 70% waste. So for those companies that are not really digitized yet, that they want to become tech company, like I said, resistant to change, there's a lack of data literacy skills, and the fact that there's an overemphasis on technology. Yeah, what if you bring crypto payments? If your guys don't know how to use it, it's over. They're not going to adopt it. All right. And in Malaysia, in Malaysia, 85% of the workforce are data illiterate. Okay, that's a huge number. Considering that we're entering Web 3 and we're not really over in Web 2 yet, and we still have 85% of the workforce are data illiterate. That is astounding. Only these guys, they're data literate, and they're the ones that are doing well. They're the ones who get promoted. They're the ones who get a sexy job. They're the one who escape to Singapore, okay, and get better jobs, 3 times the money, or they get much higher salary here in Malaysia. So now I'll give you a key example here in data-driven marketing, because data-driven can actually be applied in many different functions, all of the functions really, whether data-driven finance, HR, sales. So I'll give you a deep dive on marketing part. I hope a lot of you are interested in marketing. If you don't, this is gonna help you to gain awareness. All right, so just now I established the fact that data-driven is basically using data analytics and AI to make decisions, right? We gain insight, make decisions. Now the marketing is just basically to move people along the journey from strangers to loyalists. And if I want to take one step back on what on earth is a market, so a market is basically a group of people or entities that share the same attributes, that share the same set of problems that they're trying to achieve from current state to the future state. And they are having that certain problems. and they have the money, they have the money to solve the problem, or rather they're using some alternatives to solve this problem, but it's so painful, but they're willing to put the money. That's the market. The whole idea of the marketing is just basically the approach to actually get them. All right, that's the real definition. So here you see this: collect, analyze, automate. Okay, and in the marketing, actually in a lot of different functions, we have funnels. In marketing, a funnel could look something like this: awareness. It starts with getting awareness of the people, then you nurture them to turn them from a stranger to someone who's warm, ready to buy, and then you acquire them, get them to buy, get them to become user, activate them for the first time, make sure they use it first time. First experience always matters. Okay, get them to come back. They want to come back because they can get value out of it. Okay, you go back to Food Panda or Grab because you keep wanting to get a ride share, or you want to order food. That's where the retention is. And then referral, can you refer this, and then we'll give you some money, or you get some points, you get some discounts, bonus. Okay. Revival, if you churn, if you don't use it anymore, how is marketing gonna get you back? All right, marketing spectrum is actually quite huge. And in marketing, there's some of the data-driven objectives that are important are things like basing more decisions on data analysis, acquiring new customers, integrating data across platforms, enriching data quality, blah, blah, blah. So all of this is just basically the same stuff I talked to you about. Okay, in data-driven sales, data-driven HR, whatnot, it will have something similar also. And in the future, marketing will just be marketing. It won't be data-driven marketing. It'll just be sales. It's just that the functions will just evolve. And there are three mindsets that you gotta approach this. The way that you need to approach this, if let's say in marketing, whether marketing, other functions. Number one is a mindset, methods, and tools. So it's a why, how, and what. Okay. You want to start to become data literate, there's certain mindsets that you gotta have. Number one is, as opposed to using your own opinion, I think I want to do this because I'm the boss. Make the logo bigger. You gotta have some sort of evidence. Okay, evidence is the key, not the fact that you gotta run some data analysis, and the fact that you actually found some people doing the same thing that you think you're gonna do. That's some evidence, and evidence is still a piece of data. So data is not something that inside the Excel. Okay, and that's why you need to start to see the world as a data. It's kind of like a way of looking. Okay, so if you see in your room right now, it's peppered with data. Okay, your wall is white. That attribute is white. So the data of your wall is white. Okay, you have a chair, and the chair has is made out of this material. So if let's say that you're able to calculate the whole building, or not just your whole house, how many chairs they have, what color it is, that's all pieces of data. Okay, so that leads me to the small data, because all the world right now is filled with data. It's just that it's not being seen, it's not being captured as data. Very, very important. You don't have to have a big piece of data. Okay, you don't have to have a large trove of data to get started. You can just start collecting your own little data, like what I said earlier. In your room, if you are trying to collect the data of the colors in your room, the wall is white, so that's one. Your chair is maybe brown, that's the second one. Okay, maybe your wardrobe is also brown. Okay, so you got two items that are brown. Okay, this is small data. That's where you probably can start if you don't have any data. And then you gotta make the data clean. What I mean is that if it's brown, one is brown, and you tag it as it's gray, that's dirty data. Okay, you don't have the right organization. If you're sorting one type of data by color, then let's go by that rule of color. By that rule, color, you want to sort it by material, let's sort it by the material, the naming convention, everything. So this requires you to be detail minded in the way that you write things. And experiment. So you want to do a certain experiment, you have a bunch of data that you do, then as opposed to doing a full-scale implementation, why don't you just run an experiment? You have a theory, it's not about, hey, I think it's going to work, and then you say, no, I think it's going to work, so why don't we just do an experiment? We'll see which one. Then you'll generate some data. That's how it is. Okay, so then there won't be blame games anymore. It's like, oh, my experiment works. Okay, and of course, any manual work, you have to assume that, actually, it's not assumed, all manual work will be automated. Okay, so, but in order for you to automate certain things, but you gotta know that your manual work is gonna produce the results that you want. So that's where the experiment comes in. That's where having the data is important. So don't automate for the sake of automating bad results. You gotta automate the good results, but before you automate good results, you gotta do some manual work to get the good results. Then you can automate the same process to multiply the good results. All right. Now, after mindset, we have the methods. There's so many methods out there. Okay, the gurus will teach you, your professor will teach you, we will teach you. Methods are things like, let's identify buying intent of the leads. So what are the different buying intents? Okay, these are methods. How do you define the narrow criteria of your ideal customer profile? Okay, how do you qualify leads? How do you nurture the leads? How do you educate them? How do you get the lookalikes? All of these are methods. You can have a different definition, but let's just call it methods over here. And then we have tools. These are the stuff that you see people trying to sell you, the tools. And in marketing alone, there's over 8,000. This is 2020. So there should be more than 10,000, maybe 20,000 tools. So how do you even choose a tool? If you start with the tool, sometimes the tool actually gives you best practices. Okay, like your school teaches you certain tools because they know these tools best. But a lot of this work, if you want to start to become data-driven, collect data, analyze them, and automate the work, a lot of these tools are not, a lot of them are still new. Okay, a lot of them are only used in companies. You may not get introduced it right now, and that's where sometimes being experimental can be good, but sometimes you just don't know where to start. Okay, so you could actually even start bottom up or top down. Bottom up means that you experiment with these tools. What can these tools do? Oh, these tools could actually provide me this methods, this method, and this method. Aha, great. So that's what being tool geeks is like. Or you could actually just start with top down. Hi, let's do it. I have some hypothesis I need to test. I need to do this. I need to run an experiment. Okay, what are some of the methods I'm going to use? And then I'm going to find the right tools for that. If it works, I'm going to find the right tools to automate the work. Like, okay, top down, bottom up. And it always starts with, once you understand these three: mindset, methods, and tools, why, how, and what, then in every functions, there will always be a metrics, okay? Metrics that is along the flow. So here, if it starts with awareness, ends with revival, then, every stage has metrics. For example, awareness, it could be things like metrics like traffic views, nurturing, engagement rate, acquisition, number of signups, number of people buying, how much, activation, how many percent onboarded, how many people completed the profile, the retention, do they return, how much do they use it, okay, referral, what's the NPS score, net promoter score, do the customers, how many referral does each customer make, revival, what's the login rate, things like, you gotta have the metrics first. Okay, if okay, so now I'll give you 2 examples. Let's say that you're a marketer, you want to become marketing, and you want to improve the awareness stage. So from top down, I'll select the maybe, okay, to improve the awareness, I know that we could actually, one of the things that we could do is to write articles with keywords that rank together. Okay, I'm gonna do that by, remember this is light blue, this is collect the data, gather and research keywords of my niche that's relevant for my niche. In order to do that, I'm gonna use this tool, Hrefs. Okay, then identify other relevant keywords that rank together. So that's analysis. And it's not the fact that you can do it manually, of course, but it's gonna take so much more time. But or you can use these tools only if you know them. Use content distribution to produce some Excel file with all of the keywords that rank together. Okay, great. Then you can automate your writing. Okay, you don't have to just write it in your notes or Microsoft Word. You could use tools like Jasper. It'll write, help you write. Jasper has read 10% of the internet. Okay, so it's able to create original content for you, and your role just be editor. And then make sure that this keyword will rank high on Google when people search for the keywords. Make sure that your grammar is good. All of this is embedded together. Okay, then you could actually get results like this: 0 to 3 million organics visit within 12 months. This is a real case study from Peanut. Peanut is a community for first-time mothers, okay, who doesn't have any idea what's gonna hit them after they have their first baby or during the journey of conceiving. Okay, and this is the same method that they use to get this result. 3 million within 1 year. Very good. Okay, and an example right here, nurturing. Let's say you want to improve the ability to nurture your people. Maybe the approach is to use the nurture opt-in leads to book a demo. Okay, remember, collect the data. Okay, collect the data and then validate, and then analyze it. Here we analyze things like, for example, analyze if the email is working. Okay, you could actually be collecting the data, like they visit your landing page, they could be downloading an ebook from you. Okay, your landing page is built with lead pages. Then you'll store the email, and you will validate the email. Then you can categorize them. Okay, then you can automate campaign using these tools, and send them content automatically to turn them from warm to hot. Then get them to automatically book a demo with you, product demo, so that you can get that sales with Calendly and some bunch of other tools. Okay, this is the job of the account manager, growth marketeer. The metrics you want to look at here is maybe the discovery calls booked, the number of demo calls booked. Okay. All right. So these are two examples. So companies are with data-driven marketing 6 times to be more profitable. Yeah, of course. In fact, companies with any data-driven capabilities, HR, sales, etc., will be profitable. All right, and that's the future. You'll have more ROI compared to data-impaired organization because you have data, man. Okay, data-impaired organization doesn't have data. It doesn't have people who knows how to work with data, analyze insights, and automate them. So it could be working better, faster, cheaper, and more. And to start off with, I think it's so important that if you have a job or you don't have a job, if you don't have a job, you got to consider that look inside what is not being seen. Like, is the data connecting to each other? Back to what I said in the very beginning, interoperability right here, it still works in 2.0. Is the data talking to each other? Is sales and marketing talking to each other? Before we even go big into whatever I said in the beginning, let's just solve this one first. So marketing, IT, sales, finance, the data, are they talking to each other? In a lot of cases, if you're legacy companies, the answer is no. But how it should be is this, okay? The data interoperates with different systems. The data moves. There's a digital thread. And right now, actually, that could be a misconception. You don't need to code to know all of this. You just need to understand how data moves, then how to get that insights. That's data literacy, not the fact that you got to learn how to code. All right. So, and there are basically, 32 skills that we look at CADS. Okay. These are 32 data literacy skills across levels if you want to start to become data literate. And the fact that you don't have to, you don't have to know everything. Here we have a learning path that starts with enterprise data practitioner. Every white collar worker who want to work with data, they gotta be at this level to become a data literate professional. These days, companies will ask, hey, I want to hire data scientists when they actually just need a data analyst or somebody who can just work with Power BI, just at this level. Okay. And that's basically it, you know. You don't, if you want, you got to start, there's a roadmap. We provide a roadmap. Start here, enterprise data practitioner. And then if you want to specialize, go specialize. This is, it goes deeper, become data analyst. Okay. Associate, enterprise level, then become data scientist or data engineer. Okay. It's not everything is just data scientist. And I'm a designer. I'm only at this level. The stuff that I talked to you about, okay, I could do all of that just by this level. Okay. So just a quick recap in a data-driven marketing. So look at your funnel. If you have a funnel or flywheel or loop, whatever it is, whatever structure you use, you gotta obviously define the metrics for each of the stage. Okay, traffic, number of sales, etc. Then define the metrics. What are the methods you want to use to improve the metrics? Identify the right tools, and then just execute. Okay, so for me to end, just two things. We have a platform that I mentioned that allows you to start building your data literacy skills. Okay, it's data literacy skills plus other verticals, plus marketing, plus HR, finance, etc. Even startups, even Web 3.0, we have that. Okay, so urge you visit CADS AI if you want to learn more. Start, you know, be part of this feature, and basically, you know, future-proof yourself, because the world that we're gonna be living in today and tomorrow will be different. But today is your saving grace because it's just 2.0. We're not 3.0 yet, but the skills you need 3.0 and 2.0 are the same: data analytics and AI/automation. Okay, guys. So sorry, it cannot be 2 hours long. I think this is plenty, and I'm open for a question and answer, or anyone has other comments I'd like to add in.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for your sharing session. May we have questions to Mr. Jeffrey? Everyone, you can unmute yourself and ask Mr. Jeffrey your questions. Do you have any question? Hi there.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Lisa Hamida. I'm from Bangladesh, and I am a PhD student in tailors. So, you know, it's a current intake. So my background is public administration, finance, and I am a official from the Central Bank of Bangladesh. I really enjoy your presentation, and it's a very interesting topic to me because since I studied in Australia, I found that they have a very comprehensive data privacy policy. And it's amazing to see that they actually use it in every single, places in life, like day-to-day life, they are able to use that. So it's really interesting. And I think the data privacy and the sensitivity of, disseminating our data, especially in the, as you mentioned, in the health sector and the financial sector and other sectors, is really, it's a very important component to be supervised by the regulatory authority as well, I think. But because since I work in the central bank, for us, we used to do the same thing, because when we promote financial inclusion or other entrepreneurship development programs, we had to do the same process, right? Collecting data, sometimes some biometric information from clients. So yeah, it's a dilemma, I think. So I don't know how it will be solved or what, how we can, manage these things. But thank you so much for your presentation. I really enjoyed. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you. Other questions, comments? Is it too much? Still absorbing?
Hi, Jeffrey. We have one question in the chat box from Dr. Joanne. How do you level the playing learning field among different age demographics?
How do you level the playing field among different age demographics? Okay, so different age ranges, age groups have different roles to play. All right. Well, although I don't really like to standardize, but there will be standardization. For example, if you are more on the senior role, typically you could be much older, 40 plus. All right. Your real role over here is to become a data leader. Someone who advocates, someone who don't block, someone who open up the doors, someone who becomes the champion and create that culture and understand what it means, hopefully through this talk. And then, incentivize people to actually work this way and become the facilitator. Okay, so that's the data leaders. And create new programs, create new functions, and enable people to do that. Then we got guys who, the new students and new graduates, and the fact that even in our experience training different age groups, working with them, the younger ones, the youth, are much easier to mold. Okay, concepts like this, they're the one who actually have to bring to the organization. If you even like a Web3 right now, if you check who's giving the knowledge of Web3, it's all 18 years old, 19-year-old, early 20s. These are the stuff, these are the guys that's gonna spearhead this kind of future. And if it's for today, then, I urge, there's a mentality differences between the Asians, okay, the students in Asia and the students that come from Western world. All right, I know because I live in both worlds. I studied in Canada, and key differences that's gonna change a lot of lives, of your lives, because here, for example, the students, if you're learning new emerging technology, and you're being asked to do things that you don't really want to do, I mean, you still use Excel, PowerPoint, stuff like that. The fact that you're not pushing your own boundary is your own fault. Okay, unless you're working in a company that's highly dictatorial, like if you work in yeah, so basically you gotta, as a youth, you have the ability to push this and execute it. So the youth here, your role is to become the executor. Okay, of course you can formulate strategy, but this strategy has to be in line with what the future will also bring, that's aligned with business objectives. Can you do things that is better, faster, cheaper with emerging technologies? Why? Because right now, companies that want to invest in digital transformation, data transformations, all these jargons like that, they may be thinking that they should be buying the tools, stuff like that. But the ones that are going to be adopting and using it are basically the youth, okay, and the other employees in the middle age range. Okay, so the youths are the one that's going to be easier to learn. Okay, the middle age range, then so I just talk about two groups, right? One is the older one, they gotta become data leaders. The younger ones, they gotta start pushing the boundaries. They gotta push the boundaries and tell them this is how we should do it if you want to meet these objectives. Okay, and then the middle age group, they should start to convert. A lot of middle age group, they become complacent with the way things are, and that shouldn't be it. The middle age group should be the one that convert. They should be the bridge between top and down, top and bottom. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. If you have any specific questions, I'd be able to happy happy to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffrey. I think we have one more questions, quite long question, I think. Let me.
Still have the access to chat.
Sorry?
I have the access to chat.
Okay.
Let me read them. Yes, also the team needs different players, correct? So across levels and across horizontal and vertically, they need different players. That is right. Everyone has roles to play. So Carl said that I have a feeling that your system is expected to do full chain user monitoring and analyze data based on this. But now the user source is complex. How can you obtain the unified identification of multi-terminal user? Like WeChat, TikTok. In addition, is this system a monitoring system or mid-stage system? Otherwise, how to obtain the user track of different systems? I feel that most difficult aspect of the system is how to ensure a unified user system and correct labeling. Well, you have multi-layered questions over here. The fact that here what I'm introducing is a way of working. Okay, so if you call it system, that is fine. And what I mean by full chain, this is really only three steps. So that's basically collect data, analyze into insights, and automate work. And if you're going by this as the full chain, it could be a very short chain, or it could be like a really long chain. All right, and the fact that it also matters whether you're starting with zero or you're starting with a large trove of data. So let me give you a disclaimer. I'm not even technical at all. Okay, I'm not technical engineer and whatnot, but I do understand how things should work and how things will work. So I don't know. I think you better help me clarify if you want to sound this up, because I don't really understand your question. Okay, let me move on if there's no follow-up from you. Yes, Madonna, it is timely. Thank you. It reminds me to be a data leader and create a culture of data information literacy. Yes, ma'am. As a senior leader, it's your role. You don't have to do everything, but it's your role to become the enabler and enforce this. Enforce and enable, then enforce, and keep the culture tight as a data-driven culture. Okay, there's no more questions.
We still have time. Do anyone have any other questions to our Mr. Jeffrey? If no, I hope you can fill in the attendance link and also the webinar's feedback link in the chat box below. And if there is no question, I think that's all from us and also Mr. Jeffrey. If no question, I think we can end the session. Before we end the session,
Jeff, maybe it's just it's not much of a question actually. It's more to have your thoughts on this, because when you were speaking about how the world will look like as we progress further into Web3, you spoke also about the health part of it, and it really made me think on a number of scenarios that could play out. For example, do you think we will come to a point one day when we have like, right now we have our handphones, which we're very close to and interacting. Could it then maybe morph or, change into an artificial intelligence that is built in within us? Maybe we carry a chip inside of us and it acts like Jarvis to Iron Man, the AI guiding you on all aspects and taking care of you, including your health. For example, you monitoring your vital systems and everything. And because everything in your house is wired and intelligent, you wake up in the morning, you ask your AI, hey, how am I feeling today? Well, these are your vitals. You picked up a flu last night when you attended the party, but during the night, I had released the antibiotics through the air conditioning unit, and I also had kept the bed warm to monitor the temperature. And you go to the bathroom to have to brush your teeth, and you tell your AI, I think I need to order more toothpaste, and your AI say, I'm already on it because I know your microbiological make of your body and everything. So I've already ordered online the exact toothpaste that will be good for you. And even to the point that you want to call for a Grab, but your AI already got it sorted because it knows your appointment and a self-driving car is coming to pick you up. And I don't know, the possibilities are endless. You going around the corner of your block where you're living from, because there's a 3D center, you want to print your own design of your Ferrari that will take 1 week to print. And nowadays, when you go into shops, because of RFID, you just walk in, you pick what you want, and you walk out of that shop. Back in my time, that would mean shoplifting, but it just automatically gets deducted from your account and all. So what are your thoughts about the future? Because it really got me thinking.
Yeah, the future could be the one that you picture. You're not right. Sorry, you're not wrong there. Okay, is that the future is what you create. So if let's say that any one of you are inspired to create your own startups and build this future, then by all means that will could become the mainstay. I mean, even Web 2.0 companies right now, they're building platforms in a way that is designed to integrate with other apps. Thousands and tens of thousands of apps. And in some parts, we're already living in this kind of world. All right. If you're a student, you want to start you want to start your own startup, or you want to work in a company. If you want to start your own startup, this is you gotta, don't build another Grab. Don't try to do what AirAsia is doing, copying another Grab. All right, the next Elon Musk, the next what's that guy's name? Anthony. Okay, the next Larry and Sergey from Google. They're not gonna be building the next Facebook. They're not gonna be building the next Instagram or another e-commerce store. They're gonna be building something that you'll never see, and become a unicorn quickly, decacorn, and impact the whole world. Become the next Grab, become the next Uber, Google. But you cannot do the same thing as they did. And in order for you to do that, you need to know what is the future is going to be looking like. Those are for the students who actually want to build their own startups, and those who actually want to work for a company in a specific role. Let's say you want to be in HR, you got to know what is HR like today and what is HR is going to be tomorrow. The role of HR right now, in a old world, is they take a backseat. They're just the cost center. In the future, actually even now, HR should be taking a driving seat, because we know that technology adoption is people are not adopting new technology. So people has to change, and HR is at the forefront of change at a company. But sorry, if you're a student, you can master the specific role this is the future of marketing. What future of marketing is going to be like? Future of vertical, and you be good at that vertical towards the future. Or you could actually help the companies build the future itself by imagining what is the company has a vision, has a purpose. Now let's align it with what the future is going to be looking like, and then do everything you can to execute. Yeah, sorry, this is not really a direct answer, but it's just more my reply.
Hey, Jeffrey, I'd like to ask one question.
Hello, Joanne.
I want to play the devil's advocate. So the pandemic has actually pushed the boundaries, and we have leaped forward many, many years in terms of IT and AI. I want to play the devil's advocate. What if something like the pandemic or something else, would you think that something identical to this situation that could actually push the whole scenario back to an age where we have to reboot all over again?
What do you mean by reboot?
Meaning to say, we have to build from ground up again. What would actually bring all this crashing down?
By the way, if you build from ground up again, doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. Okay, let's put that fact first. And what would take for us to get back to zero? Well, when you have wars, like in Ukraine, infrastructure, most of the things are gone. You have to build from ground up. When you have a huge natural disaster that's going to be wiping out your country, you could be building from ground up again. But so we gotta have environmental trends, like from climate change. That is one factor. Second one is from a political factor that comes from as a result, war as a result. Okay, I see these are the two main factors that's gonna burn us to the ground, back to zero. But then when you're at a zero, it doesn't mean that you're gonna start slowly. When you're at zero, maybe the way that you plan the city has been wrong. Okay, the basketball court is too close to the residential area. Maybe they keep building highways and roads when they should be prioritizing other things. Okay, then this is where knowing where the current technology is and the fact that it keeps on advancing, the smarter people would rebuild in a way that it leapfrogs current progress into the future. And if you want to have something that's a comparable, like like in China, what they're actually doing is leapfrogging. Okay, before China has, after the communism, they had in the 40s, I think they had a fight, right? It's a big civil war between the nationalists and the communists. The communists won, the nationalists fled to Taiwan, and they become Taiwan. But then the communism has three stages. Number one is the stage of Mao Zedong. Okay, and that is the stage of the fact that Mao Zedong made China free. And then the second leader was Deng Xiaoping. So Deng Xiaoping made China rich. And then the current one, Xi Jinping, made China strong economically and strong, militarily. But back to stage number two, when Deng Xiaoping came in, that's when China was still rising up. Okay, when it's free at stage number one, it didn't really have much. And then when Deng Xiaoping came in, they were still a third world country, right? According to the West, third world country, manufacturing was cheap. That's when that's still a third world country. When manufacturing is cheap, people want to go there for manufacturing. And then when then after that, what happens is that when you keep on manufacturing, there's a stage where China kept copying. Okay, they kept copying the West. They copy Ferrari, the same exact thing. They have different KFC. They have the same KFC. They built batteries. They copied everything. That's the mark where I mean, you're getting rich through volumes and the fact that the country is cheap. And then at one point of time, they start to ditch copying, they stop copying, they start to innovate their own, and they leapfrog. What I mean by leapfrog is that they see what's the current system right now, and they build something that is ahead of what other countries have built. Back then, people were not using QR codes. China was the country that has implemented QR codes before COVID. Okay, the West, when I was living in Canada, isn't QR codes not going to work. But that's when China has already implemented QR codes, and it's already a mainstay. And look where we are today. A lot of the world's catching up and implementing QR codes. So China leapfrog. So you gotta have the ability to leapfrog. So if you go back ground to zero again, you have the ability to leapfrog. In fact, you'll be smarter, and then you will leapfrog. So going back to ground zero is not a bad thing. If you're smart. Yeah, some countries, like for example Afghanistan, they just went back. all right, but that we're not gonna go there.
Thank you. I was just asking that question so that we can find ways to try and mitigate it. So you mentioned political and also environmental impacts.
Yeah, so your question is who needs to look into safeguarding against these? Well, in an ideal world of Web 3.0, it's governed by computer programs through votes. And who governs the computer programs? Votes and transparency. Once you vote that we're gonna implement a bike lane, we're gonna ban smoking, it's gonna get executed. So it's black and white world, as opposed to, hey, politician says we're gonna do this XYZ, and then it doesn't get implemented. That will be the difference if we live in a Web 3.0 world. Mala asks, will all this digitalization contribute to additional mental health issue? Yes, of course. Because we're gonna be exposed to more radiation. And then they and the fact that they're gonna put chips inside you. And the fact that when all of this is, especially in Web 3.0, that's when you will have polarity. You will appreciate more of nature. Okay, you will appreciate more solitude. You will appreciate detachment from your AR devices, your virtual reality devices. You will have to have detox. Digital detox will become a thing. Okay, right now digital detox is just something that you read on the article. Some people are doing it. They go to vacations. They don't really open their work email. But digital detox will have its own career in the future. Yeah, because there will be a lot more mental health issue. Definitely. Okay, any more questions? If there's no more questions, we can wrap this up, and feel free to connect with me privately. Just type my name, find me on Twitter, LinkedIn, email me, whatnot. Okay, Sharin, always yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jeffrey. I think there is no more question from our participants, right? But no worries. They will have your emails and contact you or whatever program they have after this. And thank you all, everyone, for participating in our session this morning. I will stop the recording now. Okay.